You are watching Luxury News. Every Friday, we cover the most relevant events that caught our eye during the week. Welcome to Alux.com, the place where future billionaires come to get inspired. Hello, Aluxers. Great to have you back. Can you believe it's already been a week since our last Luxury News video? We realized something based on this first month of new video concepts. YouTube is a weird place right now. For some reason, views and subscriber numbers fluctuate tremendously, and it's not just us who's being hit. YouTube is testing some algorithm changes, and we're just strapping in for the ride. Here are the stories that caught our eye this week. Feel free to use the time codes on the screen to jump to the stories that interest you the most. With that said, let's start strong, shall we? America is going through a massive student debt crisis. If you're a teenager heading off to university, by the time you finish your studies, you've taken up $200,000 in debt. Yep, that's how much you owe the state before even getting your first job. This has got to be one of the biggest signs that the system is broken. Imagine being one of those students about to graduate, knowing you have this $100,000 to $200,000 burden on your back. That sentiment was widespread between the 2019 graduating class at Morehouse College. As a speaker, the university invited billionaire Robert F. Smith. For those of you who don't know him, he's the founder of the private equity firm Vista Equity Partners and is one of the country's most prominent African-American philanthropists. As of 2019, his personal net worth was just shy of $5 billion, making him the wealthiest Black American ahead of Oprah Winfrey. Before ending his speech, without anyone else knowing about his plan, he announced he would be personally paying off the student debt of all 396 students graduating that year. As you can imagine, the crowd went wild. Although we applaud the gesture Mr. Smith made, this should raise major concerns to everybody who doesn't realize just how crippling debt can be, how it diminishes the desire to take risks and innovate. The economic impact this kind of debt has on the youth has never been observed before, and years from now we'll find out just how bad it all is. Moving on to less positive news, Jamie Oliver's restaurant empire is collapsing, putting at risk almost 1,000 jobs. His restaurant chain has been reportedly hemorrhaging money for a while now, with the famous chef needing to put in over $5 million of his own money just to keep things running while he searches for a buyer. But so far, no such luck. This week, 22 out of his 25 locations in the UK closed down, with the remaining 3 perhaps on the brink of being acquired. Jamie Oliver has been an icon in the food space, but apart from the push from his media presence, the chain has been struggling to find profitability, especially now with the price of rent skyrocketing all over the world. Oliver launched Jamie's Italian in 2008 with a focus on casual, mid-market dining with quality ingredients. But the industry has become increasingly crowded in recent years. As you've probably seen, hipster restaurants are everywhere. Even fast food restaurants now offer fresh ingredients, making it difficult to compete. Not to mention that at the end of 2017, his food magazine, Jamie, ceased publication after almost 10 years. The business was shut down with a loss of nearly $25 million. This should be a cold shower for some of you. Being a great practitioner with a good cause and a nice personality does not mean the market will reward you financially. Money is impersonal. In other relevant news, Game of Thrones is finally over and people are pissed, and for good reason. But the series still made TV record numbers. Since it was launched in 2011 up until now, the show has taken a life of its own. It positioned HBO at the forefront of premium television, built a worldwide following, a very lucrative franchise, and made billions. Although revenue numbers are a closely guarded secret, an estimate puts Game of Thrones somewhere around $2.2 billion in revenue. That's close to $300 million per season, making it one of the most profitable productions ever. Ballpark figures put the average cost per episode to around $5 million, although episodes from the last season had a lot more budget at around $15 million per episode. We know $2.2 billion is a lot of money, but Avengers Endgame made over $2.7 billion in the first month since it launched. But the build-up, the star power, and the advertising budget was something else. People were emotionally invested and were disappointed to see such a great show be ruined by two Hollywood writers who rushed things. George R.R. Martin himself said that Game of Thrones was supposed to be a 10-season series, at minimum, to be able to finish things the right way. But rest assured, 5 prequels are already in production, which are supposed to dive into the Westeros universe before the Game of Thrones. So HBO isn't done milking this cash cow yet. The only question is, will the fan base keep up their subscription? We'll just have to wait and see. In big acquisition news, Natura Cosméticos, the Brazilian cosmetics giant, is in advanced talks to buy American beauty company Avon for a reported price north of $2 billion. The deal would represent a more than 40% premium over Avon's closing price on Tuesday. As you know, the cosmetics and beauty industry is going through a major boom right now, so that premium might be justified. The luxury giant LVMH acquired rosé wine producer Chateau du Galopé, being the first time it acquired a producer of Provenance rosé. Chateau du Galopé is a winery in France's Provenance region dating back to the 17th century and covers 68 hectares of vineyards, mainly producing rosé wine. LVMH's portfolio of wine and spirits labels have driven strong sales growth in recent years. It reported a 10% increase in revenue across 2018, reaching €46.8 billion, and with its wine and spirits division contributing €5.1 billion, it makes sense for them to solidify their supply chain. Speaking of Louis Vuitton, they just dropped a $2,210 monogrammed ping pong set. You know, if you want to play ping pong and be obnoxious about how rich you are. So there's that. If you want to show off, you might as well go to Alux.com/art and buy or wear some of our artwork. Even better, use the promo code FANFAVE and get 10% off in the next 24 hours. Just saying. In fun time news, we got to see another piece by Banksy, who got thrown out of the most famous piazza in Venice for illegally selling his art, and there's even video of the entire thing. The last time Banksy was in mainstream news was when a $1.4 million painting by him was shredded immediately after it was auctioned off. What can we say? We love the guy. The tech story of the week has to do with the Huawei ban. For those of you unfamiliar with this, Huawei is the second largest smartphone manufacturer in the world. They are bigger than Apple and surpassed only by Samsung. They're really big and growing like crazy. But this week, the U.S. government placed a ban on them, meaning they are no longer allowed to do business with any U.S. company without the explicit approval of the government. This has very little to do with Huawei directly, and more to do with the massive trade war the U.S. is fighting with China. Huawei was just the biggest player to hit. As a result, China can choose to retaliate and force U.S. tech companies to manufacture somewhere else. But moving factories is incredibly expensive and time-consuming. Because of this power struggle, both sides are losing billions, and probably the most affected will be the consumers, who will not have access to cheap products in a competitive environment. The U.S. is threatened by the rise of tech China, and with tensions built up, they didn't want the Chinese company to massively penetrate the communications market. They sold the idea as China looking to spy in the U.S., which, to be honest, sounds like something China would actually do. While both sides are losing tens of billions of dollars, the biggest winner is the European Union, which is currently making an additional $70 billion in trade. These news videos, while awesome, are very hard to produce and deliver because this video was put together in the last 48 hours in order to keep the latest updates in, and for some reason, YouTube doesn't allow the videos on the homepage of our subscribers. The previous 2 news videos barely got any views despite costing us a lot to produce. If you guys still want them, we'll have to do them differently. Either we find a way for those of you interested to support it directly for the news efforts, something like the membership program at Alux.com/join, or we could maybe do it once a month or whenever we feel like a story could be interesting. We want to hear back from you on this. Do you find these weekly news videos valuable? Should we continue making them? Let us know in the comments and we'll go from there. As a thank you for watching this video until the end, you're getting a bonus piece of news. Here it is. Congratulations are in order for India, who for the first time in history has invested more money in solar than in coal. With China being caught in the middle of a trade war and being the biggest polluter in the world right now, it's so nice to see a country like India prepare itself for the future. Thank you for spending some time with us, Aluxers. Make sure to subscribe so you never miss another video. We also handpicked these videos for you to watch next. As always, the conversation continues on social media. Thanks again, and we can't wait to have you back tomorrow.